All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about the Xbox Series X because the review embargo for this console has been lifted today. And so anybody who has sent a review unit of this console is now able to give their final thoughts on it. And I know that we are a PlayStation-centric channel here, and we're still waiting for the PlayStation 5 reviews to go live. I'm assuming they'll go live either tomorrow, if not tomorrow, sometime next week. And we're going to cover that as well, obviously, and we're going to be very excited for that. But I figured it would still be interesting to a lot of you to go over what's being said about Microsoft's next-gen console. And maybe when we get the reviews for the PS5, we can kind of compare what's being said here, because there certainly is a common theme for the Xbox Series X specifically. And to be completely honest, it's one that shouldn't come as a big surprise. It's one that has persisted, in fact, for many years now for the Xbox brand, unfortunately. But either way, I want to go over what's being said. So if you could do me a favor, hit the like button to help the video out, subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell notification icon as well. But I'm not going to be reading the majority of these reviews, as in I'm not going to be reading the entirety of them. I'm just going to be reading the gist, the summary, the final paragraph to kind of sum up everything that they're trying to say. And so I do recommend, if you want to get every detail, as to what they think about this console, you're going to want to read these reviews through and through. But starting here with Windows Central, they tweeted out our big Xbox Series X review. Microsoft's monolithic Xbox Series X delivers power and performance in a big way, but the unanswered question of high-quality exclusive games continues to cast its shadow. Moving right along, we have Jason Schreier. He tweets out Xbox Series X review. Sleek, minimal loading screens, 0 games that can't be played on other platforms. If you skipped a lot of old Xbox games or want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla at 60 FPS, cool. Otherwise, not a lot of reasons to buy one yet. But he actually continues on here, and he says Microsoft bills the Xbox Series X as the most powerful video game console ever, but that means absolutely nothing right now and probably won't for a long time, if it ever does. Verdict, hold off. He does continue by saying that, he's been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on it, and he likens it to a high-end PC. He says that playing it on the Series X is essentially like playing it on a high-spec PC, and that's something else that we're seeing kind of thrown around a lot with the Xbox Series X, is a lot of people are liking it to a high-spec PC, or comparing it to a high-spec PC. We have Patrick Klepik. He says, for the moment, both of these Xboxes have been backwards compatibility machines, thanks to the seamlessness with which a lot of Xbox One library has crossed over. They excel in that role, and for people who sat out on the Xbox One or the One X, they're undeniable upgrades, but so far, they don't have a library of new games or lavishly updated older ones to make a persuasive case for their own frivolous necessity. We also have Gene Park, says the Xbox Series X is a powerful and extremely fast console that seems to live up to much of its promises. I can only wish I had games that were more dazzling showcases of this power. Moving right along here, we have the final paragraph in The Verge's write-up of the Series X review. It says there's one big question that remains for me with the Xbox Series X. When will Microsoft's 23 first-party studios deliver the next-gen games to truly show what this console is capable of? Powerful hardware and a sleek user experience are only part of the mix. Microsoft will need the games to really make the Series X feel like something brand new. We also have the review from Digital Foundry, specifically coming from Richard Ledbetter, and they have a pretty good summarizing paragraph here. A great console whose time has yet to come. Ultimately, I believe that in the Series X, Microsoft has indeed delivered an excellent next-generation system, but one that likely won't show its many strengths at launch. Part of that is down to the lack of first-party titles that really put the new technology through its paces, and another part is very much down to Microsoft's vision of a more gradual evolution in gaming, as opposed to the generational revolutionary shift Sony is aiming for with the PlayStation 5. Publishers wholeheartedly embracing cross-gen development to an extent we've never seen before doesn't help the series consoles in establishing them as a full-blooded generational leap either. In the here and now, at least, I love the hardware in terms of what I can potentially experience with it and the expert implementation of many of its forward-looking features, but a console is defined by its games, and in that sense, I still feel that I barely know the machine at all. We also have one more here. This is the verdict coming from IGN's Ryan McCaffrey with the Xbox Series X. We can only assume that the Xbox Series X will wow us with new and spectacular next-gen games eventually, because there isn't much to judge it on right now. But in the meantime, no matter what current games you throw at it, your loading times will be drastically cut, your frame rates will be smoother, and your resolutions will be higher. This bold and minimalistically designed box is quiet, compact for both the power it packs and especially how it compares to the PS5, capable and loaded with convenient features like instantly resuming and cycling between any of your recently played games. Compared directly to the PlayStation 5's specs, it flat out gives you more power for the same price. It's going to be a joy to see what developers actually do with it in the coming years. So I've seen some people specifically, get really worked up over the last thing Ryan McCaffrey says here, comparing it directly to the PS5. I mean, we do have to understand that he's comparing the disc version of the PS5 to the Series X. We have to acknowledge that there is a digital version that will probably become more widely available in the next year or two, I'm assuming. And that's a $400 PS5. I don't think anybody can argue that that is easily the best bang for your buck, hands down. Even more so than the Series S, but I do understand what he's getting at here. He's pointing out the, power differences between these consoles, but what he says here is what developers do with it in the coming years. And this seems to be the general consensus surrounding the Xbox Series X. And I have to tell you guys, to me, it's not surprising at all. It's really not. If you've been following these next-gen consoles, you'll know that and I'm just going to be completely blunt here, there's really nothing there for the launch of the Series X. Nothing new anyway, nothing that significant, nothing that really can compare to what Sony is delivering with their launch lineup. There just isn't. And so to hear this isn't surprising. What does make it surprising, honestly, okay, and this is where I have to take, I don't want to say shots at Microsoft, because I really don't think I'm taking shots. I think I'm just being fair in my assessment here. What does surprise me is that here in 2020, I mean, let's be honest, we're on the cusp of being in 2021. Xbox is still in the same situation it's been in pretty much since 2016, 2017. And that is, people are asking for the games. That's not to say that Microsoft has not delivered any games throughout the Xbox One generation up until now, because of course they have. But people have been wanting more for a long time now from Microsoft, and it seems like Microsoft has half of the puzzle complete here, right? Half of the problem solved, which is, and this is a problem honestly that they solved with the Xbox One X, where it's like, you want more, we're going to give you more power. We're going to give you more teraflops. We're going to give you more resolutions. We're going to give you more of that. And they did that, right? They did that. But the other side of that is people want more games. People want better games. They want more exciting games. And yeah, they did just acquire Bethesda, and that's great. And I'm not sitting here discounting that and saying that, oh, it's not, going to mean anything, because it certainly will mean something. I mean, I just heard a rumor apparently that Starfield is targeting a 2021 release. And if that game lives up to everything people are expecting it to be, that's going to be a huge title for Microsoft if it doesn't come to PlayStation next year. But still, there's no Halo Infinite at launch. That's a huge blow. But other than that, there's really nothing else lined up for the Series X either. And so the general consensus here is potential. The Series X has potential, but we have no idea when it's going to be realized. And as far as I can see, with these reviews, it literally comes off to me as the Xbox One X 2.0. I say that because you guys know I was the hype man for the Xbox One X. I fell for it. I mean, I don't really know how else to put it. I fell for the Xbox One X and I was convinced like this is going to be the best console ever. And I completely disregarded the fact that Microsoft did not have games that were being made, that were in development to showcase the power. I mean, games like Red Dead Redemption 2 definitely did a good job. But other than that, there was just some slight differences, between games on the Pro and the One X. And Crackdown 3 was a game that was meant to be there at the launch of the One X, and it seemed to have had development issues similar to what we're seeing with Halo Infinite. And it came later, and it didn't live up. To me, it felt like a mistake. I say that because you guys know, like, I got fed up with the Xbox One X. I'm like, you know what? Microsoft isn't delivering the games. I'm going over to the PlayStation. I'm going to see what they have to offer. And it was quite shocking. It was quite shocking to see what I was missing out on and to see how amazing the games were able to look on the console that is less powerful, right? I feel like we're in the same exact situation, to be completely honest. I really do. I know that there's people who don't want to hear that, but it really does feel that way. And people ask me all the time, MBG, are you getting an Xbox Series X? Did you pre-order one? I didn't even try. Honestly, do you know why? Because I don't want one, at least not now. Now, that's not to say I'll never want one, because there are games I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for Hellblade 2. I'm excited to see what State of Decay 3 could be. I'm excited for the Forza Horizon 5 whenever that comes out. And I'm sure there's going to be other stuff that Microsoft surprises me with, hopefully in the future. And, maybe for those games, I'll buy a Series X to play. But right now, I still have the One X. I don't really use it very often, if at all, honestly. And I'm getting the PS5. And so, it is what it is. These reviews are not surprising to me. To kind of sum it up, basically, it is a powerful performing console. You're going to get all the performance there, and it lives up to the power, but where are the games? Where are the games? That's not me. That's not even me saying that. I've been saying that, but these are the reviewers saying it too. And so I think the next best thing that Xbox fans can look forward to, I'm assuming, is obviously for when these games do come out, because let's face it, buying a Series X right now, it's an investment. It really is. Like, you're investing in this console. The PS5 is also an investment, but it's one that you're going to start reaping the benefits of when it comes to the games right off the bat and all throughout next year. The same cannot be said or promised with the Series X, but I think the next best thing that Xbox fans can maybe look forward to is the comparisons of multi-platform games. Digital Foundry is obviously going to be breaking these games down and comparing them, and it will be very interesting to see, like, does the Series X live up to what the expectation is, where the expectation, obviously, is it's going to run these games slightly better, and they're going to look slightly better, or maybe in some cases even much better. That's the expectation. So we're going to see if it lives up to that. I think the expectation for the Series X launch in 2020 was, like, if we're going back a year or two, I'm going to be honest, the expectation was they're going to have many more games. They're going to have a strong launch lineup. It's not that at all. So it'll be interesting to see if it can at least live up to the third-party promise or the multi-plat promise. So we're going to see, guys, but that's going to do it for the video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, leave your thoughts down in the comments below, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.